Spectrum on Radio 1. I'm your host, Edmond Kizito. On Spectrum tonight, the race for the FDC party presidency heats up. Will it revive or break the opposition party? The race to replace Dr. Kizito as FDC president is heating up, and already several party stalwarts have publicly announced their interest in the job. This race has, however, caused fear among many supporters who are wondering if the party will stay united after Dr. Besje leaves the helm. Reports have indicated that a sharp division has already emerged within the party, bordering on sectarianism and ethnicity. Some party faithful want the top positions in the party determined on a regional balance basis to avoid having the Western region monopolize state party affairs. One of those people who has publicly announced their interest in the FDC presidency is Budadiri West Mp Nathan Nandala Mafabi, who currently leads the opposition in parliament. He faces stiff opposition from former East African Community Secretary General Manyam Shega, FDC Vice President in charge of Eastern Uganda Salam Musumba, East African Parliamentary Legislator Mujisha Muntu, also FDC Secretary for Mobilization and Bugweri County MP Abdu Katuntu. Honorable Nandala's potential as a leader comes under scrutiny as he leads the opposition in parliament, where it is vital to ensure unity given the diversity in ideology there. Tonight we will task him to explain if he's capable of leading FDC as looking at his record as a leader, and if he thinks the FDC is strong enough even without Dr. Besje. We'll also ask him to tell us his experience as leader of opposition in parliament, the 9th parliament, which a position is held for about 7 months now. So our guest is Honorable Nathan Nandala Mafabi, Budadiri West MP, also leader of the opposition in parliament. You're most welcome, Honorable Nandala Mafabi.
Thank you very much, sir.
Do you think you can lead FDC to victory?
First of all, I want to say good evening, listeners. It's quite a while to have not been, quite a while for having not been here. Also want to thank the owners of this radio for giving me an opportunity to be here this afternoon and to discuss some issues concerning the general politics and how Parliament is performing where I'm the leader of opposition. In fact, the leader of the opposition. First and foremost, I want to thank the public for the support they have given me all along. Because I always give myself that when I went to Parliament, I never knew I would be here. Initially, I was meant to be a total civil servant, but eventually I found myself going to politics because I wanted to say how I can try to go to Parliament and make laws which can assist our people. I was more interested in financial laws because I discovered there were those which were affecting us most. And when I went there in the first Parliament, my first time in Parliament in 2001, I was the only new MP who was made a chairperson for 5 years as chairperson of the National Economic Committee. And I think the people in Parliament of the day saw that I can measure up as the chairman. Those are leadership. I think they saw that I had some leadership traits. When I went back in Parliament in 2006, of course not giving what we went through, despite the fact the government never wanted me to come back, the ruling party, they fought me heavily, but I made it. When I came there again, they made me chairperson of Public Accounts Committee, a committee I led for 5 years. After that, when I came back in the 9th Parliament, I contested for speakership because I believed that we needed to open up Parliament, and I wanted to bring a new stance in Parliament, make Parliament reopen to everybody, make Parliament transparent, be accountable to the people, our operations be transparent. Unfortunately, I lost the election to Honorable Kadaga, who took up the speakership. But nevertheless, I got comments. People were saying, as much as Kadaga has won, they said I'm the speaker of the public, of the people, the population. That means if I had been given an opportunity in the public to all of them to vote, I think I would have become the speaker. For the leader of the opposition in Parliament, I never contested. And as you are aware, I was not one of those who was coming up because I concentrated for speakership. And nevertheless, when there were elections when they were going to elect the leader of opposition, even I wasn't in the country. I wasn't. And I wasn't there saying I want to be one. Because I've done my part. I wanted to just be a backbencher. But I think God said, no, you can't. I have to give you something. And the people overwhelmingly elected me to be the leader of the opposition in absentia. And of course, others were given, I think I was given the leader of opposition, giving my basic background. And it's not a matter that I've just come in, and they were giving me, I think, the best on my past background. And also, I'm not one of those who is the highest in the leadership who were in parliament, even who had the vice chair of FDC who had come to parliament, but they decided to take Nandala, who is just a deputy treasurer general, to be the leader of opposition in parliament. Now, I come from a region whereby people have entrusted me with a lot of responsibilities, as all of you recall. I went in the Budadiri Cooperative Union, a dead union, Budadiri Cooperative Union, if you all know it. It was dead. It had a debt to a tune of 1.7 billion. Within the 2 years, of course, government never wanted me to win, and they put a lot of 3 billion to make me lose. And I can tell you, the election of that one, where they use delegates, it's the courage, it's one of the worst things. But nevertheless, I went there, I stood against the NRM MP, my colleague Mdimi. I beat him, and I became the chair. When I became the chair, I told the people of Bugisu that if you give me an opportunity, I'll show you that you have been cheated for many years from your product. Within 2 years, I turned out the union. I had paid the 1.7 billion. I had working capital of 2.5 billion cash. I had paid all the debts, mention it. Coffee prices had gone up. I had moved it from 800 shillings to 10,000 for Arabic coffee. And I told the farmers that, you see, these people have been cheating here. I said, just clean your coffee. And they did it. And I never took any shilling. And here the government got angry, saw what I was doing for my people in cooperatives, which they had failed. They came and took me. They said they have never chased me, but they say suspended. And up to now they call me chairman. And people are saying, but you suspended him, whom have you given us? Because they are the one who voted me. Again, I demonstrated that I could be, you see, a leader, you're a servant. And I've lived my life as a servant. And basically, I'll continue to be a servant. So that's why I'm saying now that if the leadership in FDC, the people, members of FDC, believe that they want a servant, here I am. And Nandala can be the best servant for you, and I'll serve to the best of my ability. I can tell you without fear of favor, me, I don't agree on the sectarianism issues. I don't. I have supported Dr. Kizito all throughout. I've never raised an issue. Gino Munti has been my brother. I've also talked to him. We always work together. But I've never raised issues of sectarianism. I've said, who can do it better? Of course, each of us will come. We say, I can do it better. And for me, I even have a record, a track record that I can do better. Like my colleague, of course, Dr. Chiza has been our leader doing the best. But we believe that when he said, as Agui said, that he's stepping aside, I believe I can be one of those who can do better. I may not match his standard, but I believe I can do better. Of course, each of us come with different strengths and weaknesses. I cannot deny that I don't have weaknesses. I may have weaknesses, but I also have strengths. And it's that basis of strength that I want to ask all the people, party members, that forget about my weaknesses, but to give me from my strength to lead the party. Why should I lead it if I was given an opportunity? I come here, I come from a Budadiri region. For example, if you ask me how many people have put from Eastern to go to leadership positions and FDC, I have many. I get it. That demonstrates my capacity. But everybody should come here and say, yes, when you give me an opportunity, you see, you don't come and say, I am a leader. No. You come and demonstrate that when you had that post, that small one, what did you do? I, Nandala, will come and show you that I have delivered this. And everybody would know you agree with me. So that's the basis. Now, if I can deliver on a small scale, if you give me an opportunity on a bigger scale, I can assure you I'll be there.
All right, listeners, this is Spectrum on Radio 1. Tonight, the race for the FDC party presidency hits up. Will it revive or break the opposition party? Our guest is Hon Nathan Nandala Mafabi, Budadiri West Mp, also leader of the opposition in parliament. He wants to take that position when Dr. FSJ goes. Some people think he should go, some people think he should stay because he's built up a momentum against President Yoweri Museveni, running against him 3 times, well, losing each time, even though he says he's been cheated out of victory. You'll be able to call in at some stage and contribute to this discussion. Honorable Nandala Mafabi, right now you have a pedigree over the others. You are leader of opposition, a very important position in the legislature. However, you face veteran politicians who could stand against you in the party. Mujisha Muntu, former army commander, member of the East African legislature. Manyam Shega, former education minister, among other positions that he held, public service, among others. Salam Musumba, veritable orator from that party. Regan Okumu, Abdu Katundu. How are you going to face up against these men?
No, I agree all of them are competent persons, and I cannot tell you that they are not. They are competent, and of course each of us is saying he wants to try on. Now, one of the things I want to first clear to the public, there are these rumors which are saying that if when doctor goes and we elect somebody, the party is going to fall apart. No, you see, that's where the problem NRM fears, that they don't want to remove Museveni because the party will fall apart. No, for us in FDC, were by the experience elections. You'll recall in the last in 2010, when we were electing the party president, Dr. Kizito stood with Muntu, General Muntu.
Yes.
Even the flag bearer, they stood together. But none of them went away. And I can tell you, for us, after the elections of the party president, I can tell you the party is going to move from strength to strength. Those who are wishing us that we shall break, nobody should think about it. That one I can tell you today here. Now, how come I say that it's an uphill stick? You see, in a family, there will always be people, you have to compete. If you fear an uphill, then you'll never walk, because you'll fear the uphill. So that's why we're saying that, okay, there's an uphill. All of us were competent. We believe we're all strong. Now you, the people of the FDC, choose among us. Whom do you feel should lead the party? Each of us is going to come with his manifesto. And each of us is going to come with his strengths. Of course, we have even declared weaknesses. I am not here to say that when they elected me even as a leader of opposition, I was the best in the party. No, I wasn't. But they said maybe this one can try to lead us. And that's why I find myself. Likewise, even in the party president, if all because now I've put myself there, if the people believe that I should try, I should be able to be given an opportunity. But if I'm given an opportunity, as I said on the onset, that I am a servant, and I will always serve people with one heart. And for me, when you give me a task, I can tell you I can't sleep until the task is accomplished.
How have you performed as leader of opposition?
Definitely, it talks for itself. First of all, I have committees of accountability committees. You know them, I have 4. They are doing very well under my leadership. I have a shadow cabinet. You have seen how it is performing. I have my colleagues in opposition. You have seen how I've teamed up. And the principal role of the leader of opposition, as you know it, is to keep government in check. And indeed, I have kept the government in check. And you have seen that what we have been talking about, say like corruption, mismanagement of public resources, people are not until again when our colleagues also in NRM saw that really what we have been talking about is a true story. So my role as the leader of opposition, I have performed excellent, and I can tell you the public should also see for itself that we are doing our work. So under my leadership, we are doing well.
Talk to us a little bit more about yourself. You've spoken about, well, it's an incredible record in Parliament. The first time you came to 2001, you were made chairman of the National Economic Committee. 2006, chairman of PAC, now leader of opposition. That's a very top performance. Before that, what did you do?
Oh, first of all, when I left the university, as you recall, I joined the Ministry of Finance immediately in 1988, where the people who were by then public service interviews used to come. 1988. That's when
88.
Yeah, that's when I left the university.
Yes.
I joined the Ministry of Finance as an income tax assessor. Now from there, if you want to know about me,
yes,
I worked in the ministry.
You made your money in the Ministry of Finance?
No, when you talk about money, I don't know what money, because I was born when the money was there. If you're not aware, my grandfather had a petrol station in 1954. My father had 2 petrol stations. My uncles had stations. So I don't know what you're talking about. I have coffee. I am here to my grandfather. In fact, if I can tell you, I'm the biggest coffee farmer in Bugisu. And basically, so if money I came with, I grew up seeing money. So I never made money. But I was a civil servant who worked. Now from there, I worked in the Ministry of Finance. I grew up in the ranks, of course. From there, I was one of the people who formed the Uganda Revenue Authority, if you are aware.
From the Customs Department?
No, Income Tax Department.
Income Tax Department.
But basically, I was a teacher. I was in the training department.
Right.
I've been a trainer most of the time. But of course, also, I studied. I did by then IPA. Yes. Now UMI. I did a postgraduate diploma in income tax administration. You know it?
Yes.
Because I did very well, I had to go and teach. I finished CPA in 1992, CPA Kenya.
Where was that? Strathmore, where?
No, I never went there. I'm the first Ugandan to do it here without going to Kenya.
Yes, CPA.
Yes.
At which college?
Nowhere. For me, I was just doing exams from here.
Go on.
So if you ask anybody, they will say the first Ugandan to do CPA is me. I finished SCCA in 1995. Again, from here, I never went anywhere. In 1993, I was in a training attachment to UK for 1 year on Inland Revenue, where I worked for Her Magistrate in Inland Revenue in investigation, and she wanted me not to come back. She wanted me to stay there. But as a younger man, I would have stayed, but I said no, I have to go back. I came back to serve in the country. I progressed in the organization up the rank of an acting assistant commissioner. That's where I resigned from to go to World Bank as a financial management consultant and the Ministry of Finance. But of course, also I did a master's, which I did in 1998 to 2000. Master's in Arts in Economic Policy and Planning. I am a trained teacher. I did a postgraduate diploma in education in 1988, 1989. So I'm here as a professional teacher, and I even have been teaching.
Right.
I trained in Isami. I had a small short spell at PTA Bank also. So I've been around, and all this have propelled me to grow up in the ranks.
PTA Bank in Nairobi or in Bujumbura?
No, in Bujumbura.
Before Martin Ogang took over.
So you know it.
All right. Well, listeners, this is Spectrum on Radio 1. Tonight we're hosting Honorable Nathan Nandala Mafabi in the race for the party presidency of the FDC. You'll be able to call in and contribute to this discussion. You've explained to us your background, your professional background. Do you have a lot of clout within the party itself, the FDC?
I don't know what you mean by clout, because that one should be defined by people. Otherwise, for me, I'm just a small unit in the party. If I'm kicked off, I go away, because nobody should tell you that I'm beyond the party. No, I'm just a small unit. So I don't have a big clout. I don't know what you mean by big clout. There should be somebody to define that, not me.
And what are you going to do for this party?
Of course, this party has been, of course, it came from scratch. When we formed it, it has moved up, you have seen, and a lot of challenges. You have seen many people have fought. We have lived lost people as a result of the party, you are aware, because of people fighting for rights. The party has grown from strength to strength, and now, as I can talk, is a very strong party. The only thing what we have to know is to increase its strength, of course, by doing grassroots mobilization, by putting up our structures very strong, from the grassroots up the national level. So the first task, if I'm given an opportunity, is to make sure that I organize the grassroots structures up to the top. And also, so these structures should be the ones to be able to mobilize for the party, to be able to the one to disseminate the information, the ideology, the thinking of FDC. What does FDC stand for? And of course, as you are aware, it is a new party. As it is growing, of course, big parties have gone down. The UPC went down, DP went down, and definitely NRM will also go down. And I can tell you that FDC is the most likely party to be on the top, and I can tell you that with confidence. You know, when I get my colleagues in NRM saying that NRM will go nowhere, I just remind them that in 1980, UPC said it's going nowhere, but it's no more. Of course, all of us were in UPC and we left it. So definitely even NRM. So I am calling on them that the only party which I want you to bank on and I want you to join so that we build and bring a change. And the fight for freedoms of people, rights, is FDC. And I'm calling on everybody that it's the party that we could have some also internal problems, but those internal contradictions can be really dealt with. We can have weaknesses, but you should come and help us to strengthen. But I can tell you that if a party like NRM is a party which lies, of course, it survives on patronage, using public resources. It doesn't. If you remove public resources from it, it will collapse. It survives on wastage. It survives on corruption. So that's how it is existing. And it survives who knows who. You understand? But if this is a party which is building, or is being built on truthfulness, on rightness, on people understanding, and being people, that's why they say one Uganda, one people. We have one Uganda and one people. And nobody told you to be born here. You found yourself here. So you are one of the people in Uganda. And they are the ones who have said Uganda first, not those who put their interests first. So that's what I'm saying. It's a party I believe in. And I think if I'm at the helm, I will just tell the public why they should support FDC. And I'm saying, yes, it is your right to be there. It is a party which is talking of putting Uganda first. That means putting the public interest first. And that's when we say the public interest first, it means the people of Uganda. If you entrust your leadership, if you entrust your authority to this party, you will get what you want. Not where you go to the hospital, you cannot get drugs. Where you see the road, even the president recently wrote a letter, said he traveled the whole country, and they said the roads are bad. How can he say that? 26 years, you talk of the roads being bad. That means he's saying he has totally failed to do what he's supposed to do. And of course, as I said, I will be a servant. First, the constitution of Uganda must be respected. And that's what I'm trying to say. That if you am at him, I'll preach. You see, the NRM is talking of patriotism. They tell us patriotism, but they don't practice it. Those in the leadership. But for us, when we try to tell it, we shall say, Uganda is your country. Uganda first. And if Uganda first, all of us must aim at making the interests of Uganda before our own interests.
Honorable Nandala Mafabi, where would you expect to get your support mostly from? Because the FDC still doesn't have a majority, a majority that can win an election. Where would you get more additional votes from? Is it from the DP, UPC, or the NRM?
No, currently, first of all, for party president, I will get it from my supporters.
No, if you became party president, for instance, where would you get people?
No, we have. You see, first of all, as we talk now, currently, well, it is very clear that the election in Uganda have never been free and fair. If the election had been free and fair, FDC would have been in power by now. You see here we have a referee who is Chigundu, Dr. Chigundu. He's at the same time a player. And when he's playing, he even scores for the NRM. That's why we have a problem.
You think it's partial? You think it supports the NRM?
You see, if you know the man is you see...
He's not FDC. He doesn't come from your party.
No, he's not independent.
He's not independent.
Because, first of all, if he was independent, have you been reading the papers? In Zambia, one of the biggest parties has been deregistered. You have seen it?
Yes.
For non-payment of what?
It risks being deregistered.
They have deregistered it. You're not aware? They're now appealing. Where did I read that another company has failed to produce accounts? As we talk, NRM, since it was registered, has never submitted its accounts. And one of the grounds deregistered the party is that one, failure to submit accounts. I get what I'm saying. But if it was FDC which had failed to submit accounts, by now it would have been what? Deregistered.
All right, this is Spectrum on Radio 1.
So those are the reasons which you are saying that this man called Chigundu is not a person. So that's why I want to conclude on this before we can go for break, is that I can assure you the people themselves know that this government of the NRM is just finishing them. It's not fighting for their rights.
We'll be back after this break. Do stay tuned.
Special fares to the US, London, China, and India, with extra baggage allowance on selected flights. To book your flight, contact your local travel agent or call us on 041-7800-900 or book online at qatarairways.com/UG. Qatar Airways, world's 5-star airline. Terms and conditions apply.
alive and free.
I wanna be alive and free. I wanna be alive and free.
I wanna be alive and free. I wanna be alive and free. You and me.
Uganda Waraji, the spirit that binds us. Strictly not for sale to persons under 18 years. Please drink responsibly.
Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90 is brought to you by Stanbic Bank.
Welcome back on Spectrum. Tonight, the race for the FDC party presidency hits up. Will it revive or break the opposition party? Our guest is Hon Nathan Nandala Mafabi, Budadiri West MP, leader of the opposition in Parliament, also a top contender for that position. You'll be able to call in and contribute to this discussion. Honorable Nandala Mafabi, you are confident of beating the opposition. Some of the names you mentioned, Mojisha Muntu, Amanyam, Shegasalam Musumba, Regan Okuma, Abdukatuf, there might be others. You're confident of beating them?
Of course, when you go to the race, you are determined to beat them, to beat your competitor. And I'm confident I will do so because I know I am capable, I can play, and I'm a good player.
You have the national stature.
Yes. I think if I went to even... one time I went to Rukega to visit Jack. When we were walking, then when I went to a church, some old woman came and said, I only want to see Nandala Mafabi. Those are many years back when I was when I was chairman PSC Park. So he came and so when she said hello to me, she was happy and she left church and went home because I thought I would be there. So if an old woman in the village can know Nandala, I think even I would believe you, the elite, should be knowing who I am. And I want you to all of you to support me. And I want all of you to go to your villages and tell those people that kindly vote Nandala Mafabi is a person who loves Uganda with one heart.
Your father had a petrol station in the 1950s.
That's so my grandfather.
Your grandfather?
Yeah.
So yours is not new money?
No. I grew up seeing money, by the way. So it's not, that's why you don't see me saying that I don't have money. I grew up seeing it, so I don't need it.
All right. Will this race not tear up the FDC?
It won't. It won't, because what we're trying to talk about is that the issue of FDC, everyone who is in a party is just a small unit. So I can tell you it can't. You remember when our sister Betty Kamia went, they said if FDC is going to collapse, he said it became stronger. So I can tell you that there was nothing in that nature, and nobody should worry. All of us are not saying that it is do or die. No, we're saying give me an opportunity. Each of us is coming and say give me an opportunity to lead. So each of us is coming to ask for an opportunity. So if you don't get an opportunity, why should you tell the party? I can tell you that's when you go back and say whoever wins is all of us go behind to support. And that's what I can tell you. If I don't win, I can tell you I'll go and support whoever who wins, whether Ujeno Muntu or whether Katuntu or whoever will be there.
Some people think Dr. Besigye should not go yet.
Well, I think his term had not expired. And for him, he says, well, I want to give the party opportunity so that somebody comes in to build it as he does, he concentrates on other things. He said to the people, I want to tell you that he's not leaving the party. Are you getting it? He's still a member of the party. And I'm sure he's going to be one of the strong supporters of the party. And he's the one going to advise the new president what to do. Because you're coming in this office, he will tell you this is where you should walk, this is what you should do, we should consult every now and then. And when he says you are going wrong, he has the capacity to rebuke you or to put you on the right track. When he sees you going right, he will say go like that. So he's not going away. Well, that's what his decision was to do, that he lives now. Otherwise, I think his term was supposed to expire in 2015.
Some people think that this will be weaker, worse off without the old Dr. Besigye.
That's why we're saying he's around, he's not going anywhere. But I also want to tell people that it's very wrong for us to always assume that if one person, that's why I like Dr. Kizito Besigye. He said we need new leadership. And if you look at that gentleman, he wants to build younger ones to come up in the position of leadership.
He's not too old himself.
No, but he looks at the younger one. Because I'll give an example of me. There were older colleagues of mine in Parliament. He would have said if he was using the age, he would have said these are older. But he said, no, maybe Nandala is younger, but he can do it. Let me give him an opportunity. Of course, that's what happens. So what I'm trying to say is that he believes that, and I want to tell everybody, that's why we make wills. You know will?
Yes.
That tomorrow you're not there. So So why should you assume?
So when you go to heaven, how things should run on
should
back here on
run,
earth.
but when you're there, you're in heaven, you smell that your things are going. For him, he believes in continuity, not the one that he's the Alpha and Omega. And that's why I'm telling the people that no, the party will go strong and strong. And I'm calling on all those who are saying that it will become weaker. No, it is going to grow even stronger and stronger.
Some people think the candidates from the West, Mujisha Muntu and Nyamshega, should not stand because Besigye comes from the West. They should give a chance to other people.
No, that's not true. I don't believe in that.
Why?
We are looking at competence. We're not saying if we get Muntu is better, is better than Nandala, go. If Kano Mushega is there, it should go. Why should we look at that? Because that's where we go wrong. That we should.
But you want to build a national party, representative leadership.
Yeah, that's true. But the national party of what? General Montefiore that him or Manya Mushega does not mean that he's the one in the grassroots in Busamaga where I come from. There must be people at the grassroots in Busamaga in the village. There must be people at the grassroots in Soroti, in Kaberamaido. You understand? So he does not take out from that. Leadership is just to lead. As a guide, but not you to be that you are never in even those villages. I think that's where we're going wrong.
What enduring ideals does your party have, the FDC?
Well, that's a very good question. I think we're trying to develop, we've rotated that around that thing of ideology. I think that one will give me another time and I'll come with a better one. But basically, for us now, the ideology we have, the majority of us, is Uganda first. What do we mean? We must respect the people of Uganda. We need the people to serve the people. For currently, Uganda first. National interest first. That's what I could say, the ideology, each of us. And I'm sure even my mother believes in that. Uganda first. Even yours. So, the ideology of saying I'm leftist, rightist, centership, those one, we can leave them for another time.
Well, but there must be ideals. Forget about ideology. Ideals, things you believe in. You mentioned corruption. That's only one of them.
No. If you are talking of national interest, that means anything you are doing should be in the national interest. Whether you're in office working, you should do the work in the national interest. Whether you're in a car driving, you should drive the car in the national interest. You understand? So, national interest, the moment you do everything in the national interest, breaking the laws will not exist. Corruption will go away. And of course, for us, we ought to believe in FDC is good governance. Good governance. An accountable government. A government which is open to everybody to see, not the one which is opaque. And that's what we believe in. So if we want to total all the values we do, there are values which aim at promoting good governance. And if human rights, of course, there respect of human rights, not this one whereby people go and tear gas kids, not this one where people had, I saw yesterday the youth of our youth, Mugumi and Francis went and asked the police. When for them they are demonstrating, they are not escorted. But when they are even beaten, this one were demonstrating, they were being guarded heavily. So how do you practice this? These are the things we want to allow Ugandans to, if we're given an opportunity, to exercise their rights.
And if you are to campaign against an NRM candidate, what's your big stick?
No, the NRM will say, because they have done it. You see, they promised us that there is zero tolerance to corruption. They have not done. They said they will deliver the drugs. They have not done. They said they will deliver roads. They have not done. They said they will deliver school education. They have not done. Because I can tell you this without fear. If you got right now children who are dropping out of school in the universities, the numbers is too much, too big. Why? Because parents cannot afford. Why are parents not affording? Because of poverty. NRM promised to remove poverty, it has just increased. NRM promised to remove, to take out corruption, it's on increase. So, since they have failed, let us get an opportunity to give somebody also a chance to see who can do it. To tell you the truth, you see, you need new blood to clean up this society. You need new blood to lead this government. Because everywhere somebody steps, you remind him you did this, you remind him you did this. So that you can't move. Because even President Museveni now is just a prisoner. When he tries to push this, but he said, man, we're the one who put you there. Man, you remember this. So it's just a captive. So give an opportunity, new challenge, and that's what I'm saying, that we shall tell the public that if we give FDC a chance, what you have been yearning for, good health, good road, education in university, free of affordable, agriculture improvement, cooperatives, which are, you know, cooperatives. That's where I believe
you would bring back cooperatives around the country. Banyankore
Kweteran, I will bring that.
Northern Lango.
No, it's called Lango Cooperative.
Lango Cooperative.
The West Madi, East Mengo, Masaka. You know, when I was growing up, my grandfather told me this. You know, he had his car called Austin. He said, I'm tired. I must go to Masaka now and get a Peugeot. Do you know why? Good cars were in where?
Masaka.
In Masaka. Recently I went to Masaka. Even us now in Obujusa are better than them. So we can imagine this system came in place and destroys Masaka, which everybody was yearning for. So what NRM has done basically is to destroy what was built instead of building on. In fact, if they had developed, you know, when they came in 1986, Museveni said, I am going to build a self-sustained integrated economy. Zero tolerance to corruption. Corruption is high. The economy which they wanted to build, I don't see it. And I can tell you cannot live for us, or we live on agriculture. If agriculture where we should be investing in more and we invest less than 4% of our budget, then what are we doing? And that one employs over 80%
yes.
of Ugandans.
All right.
Those are the problems we want to say. So for me, I know nobody should lie. This NRM has not revamped the economy. They have destroyed even the economy. To revamp this economy, we'll need again fresh blood.
Well, we'd like to hear from the listeners, but maybe before we do that, somebody's going to ask you, where are your generals? Besija could fight against Museveni because he's a soldier. He knows him well. You're an outsider, rank outsider.
I'm also a general. If you're not aware, I'm a general because God gave me an opportunity to go take me to school. And when he took me to school, I know how to write and read. And one other thing is that I can talk.
You're a general of the pen.
Yes, that's what.
Brought up in the hills.
Then also another general, I can tell you, I'm a general. I'm a farmer. I'm a general in farming. And when you talk about in walking, I'm a general in walking. If you talk, so I am a general. So.
And you never ran away from the knife.
No, I never ran away. And when, of course, that's why you remember when they wanted to take my vote. You recall. I said you will not take it. Whether you
bring commanding, standing on the top of a jeep.
My dear brother, and I can tell you. But what I want to tell the public is that we are not looking at army to be the one to lead. I think we're moving from that. The army is supposed to be our army. And what is supposed is to guard our boundaries,
right?
Our borders. So we need a leader. In fact, the moment you are accepted by everybody, I can walk, by the way, I can tell you, I can walk from down there to the market street there without any problem.
All right, let's hear from the listeners. Spectrum on Radio 1. You can call in now. Our number 041-4348-111, 031-226-0390, 031-226-1390. Spectrum, hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir, your name?
Yes, good evening, Edmond.
Good evening, your name again?
This is Wamboga Mugia. Good evening, Honorable Nandala Mafabi.
I'm okay, Wamboga. How are you, my voter? Okay.
Now, Edmond, I would like to say that Nandala represents very, very ideal situation or an ideal personality of a person that this country requires. He is very dynamic, he is very energetic, and is passionate about having this country lead a cleaner path than it has in the past 50 years of its independence. Perhaps he wants to revive it where it was in the early 60s. Now, the most important thing in Nandala Mafabi is that if you look at all the past elections, the incumbent campaigns as if he's an opposition candidate. So it means that you guys in the opposition, you have an opportunity to give this country a new ways of life. But it requires a very serious opposition unity, and also giving the people not more hope, but really giving them concrete plans as to how this country will be governed on a new path. So the challenge you have, Honorable Nandala Mafabi, and all the political party dispensation in this country, is the growth of democracy, the respect for democratic principles and values, and also the respect for human life. That's the bottom line all the political parties in Uganda require. First of all, not merely to theorize, but to practice. and we need to see a record for it. Thank you very much.
All right. Trump, hello.
Yes, please.
Yes, your name?
Tumine Max.
Yes, Max.
Mr. Nandala Mafabi, please.
Yes, Max.
The politics of FDC has built its name largely on demonstrations. Now, we haven't seen you as a first-hand striker in these matters, demonstrating being a serious activist. How can you strike a balance with that when you become the president? To win a Max, goodbye.
Spectrum, hello. Hello. When you call in, please tell us your name and where you are calling from. Our number is 0414-348-111, 0312-260-390, 0312-261-390. Spectrum, hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, your name?
I'm Spencer Joseph, too.
Come again?
I'm Spencer Joseph.
Joseph, yes. Can you switch off your radio or walk away from it?
Let me fix it. I'm Nikachidi Kaunti. I'm very thankful to Hon Nathan Nandala Mafabi. He's my model. I love the way he articulates issues. Let's continue. In fact, he's one of our advocates with the village this way. Please continue. Thank you.
All right, Spectrum, hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir, your name?
My name is Guma.
Guma. Yes, huh?
Honorable, good evening.
Good evening, my brother Umar.
Guma.
Oh, Guma, yes. How are you, my brother?
How are you?
Fine.
Now, Honorable.
Yes, please.
You sound an academician and really a man who is informed. Why don't we keep away from this politics of referring to other parties as realistic for what we are going to do? Like, for instance, the reason why you are in the studios right now is to talk about your candidature for your party, isn't it? But when you refer to NRA as the weaknesses, the corruption, the what, you lose the point. People like me who would have probably listened to your articulations, I just say now, this is typical politics of Uganda, hatred. You tell people what you are going to do for your party. Tell your supporters what alternatives do you have. If NRM has not done well, how better are you? So all politicians should keep away. Let all politicians keep away from that politics of attacking either parties or individuals. Let's tell people what we are going to do for them.
All right. Okay, thank you. Spectrum, hello. Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, your name?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening to you. Your name?
This is Samuel.
Samuel, can you step away from your radio, switch it off?
Okay, can you switch off? Hello?
Yes, Samuel, go on.
You cannot hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. But you have to move away from your radio, Samuel. Or switch it off.
I'll switch it off.
Go on, Samuel.
You can hear me?
Yes, go on.
Now, Honorable Nandala,
Yes, sir.
still in the old propaganda of making the NRM a scapegoat, that they are rigging them. You can't be rigged elections in 201, you are rigged elections in 206, you are rigged elections in 311, and next back in 260. Is that a song you always say, which means you are weak country? What you should do, you go, know that you are weak on the ground, start mobilizing, start to get the popularity. Because you can't tell me, even if they rigged you, your president couldn't even win one district in Uganda.
Yes, all right. Spectrum, hello.
Hello, good evening. William is my name.
Yes, William.
And I'm calling to dispel what a former caller was talking about. If you're talking about politics anywhere, you must talk about the wrongs that the incumbent has done. Therefore, you cannot talk about getting better government without talking about the ills, the corruption, and all the ills that the NRM has committed and the suffering it has caused us over the last 20 years. And therefore, it is right and fitting for a candidate of the FDC talking about the future of this country to point out the America, they do that all over.
Okay, now let's get back to the studio. Honorable Nandala Mafabi. Some supporters, some non-supporters. What's your response to those questions?
Thank you very much. I want to thank William, who has said you talk about William, the last one. You have to talk about your what you do. Currently, there's election going to take place in America. You are aware, but those candidates of Republican,
yes,
are saying no. Obama has failed this. If you give me an opportunity, I'll do this and this. So that's why I've seen that there are some people like Samuel and Guma. I think they don't know foreign politics very well. And when he says that I'm an academician, well, it's true, I've gone to school, I've read, but I'm not really saying I'm applying books here. I am just applying common sense and what we see day in, day out. In fact, I've not talked anything about books here, and I want him to understand this. In fact, you are the one who asked me a question. The moderator asked, if you are now given against an NRM candidate, what will be your point? And that's what I brought up. So that means Guma was not listening in. It's unfortunate that colleagues listen from the beginning, don't hate any word. The reason why we don't want to learn is when somebody is starting talking, you switch off the radio or you don't want to listen. You will miss a point. Kindly listen through, then you can trash the rubbish at the end of it. And that's what I did about also Samuel. Samuel talks about that even my president never won a district. I can tell you, I was in Sri Lanka in the tele center. We won all the polling stations, and the results were sent to Kampala. You know, we asked the returning officer, why doesn't he declare the results of the district in Mbale, in Sri Lanka? He never. And the results between Sri Lanka and Nambole had changed.
The dusty roads.
I think the dusty road, that's where the results were moving. The dusty road hit them instead of Chiza winning, because when they came, we knew I'd beaten Museveni in that district by over 20,000 votes. But they came in the other way around. So for me up to now, I'm still questioning. That's why we should make rules, that this declaration of results should be at every point. You understand? And it is led direct to the tele center. Notice the business where those are carried between here and there, and that's why many people have lost their votes. You understand? Now Joseph talks. Yes, I'm advocate. I'm advocate for the poor, and because I've seen how poverty is bad. It's the one which has made Ugandans become destitute.
Yes.
In fact, people like Guma are the one enjoying because they are demonstrating eating on our behalf. As people are suffering, for them they're happy. You know, there is a man who say that rule, you must give people two things.
Yes.
You must make them poor and make them illiterate. So when you make them poor, you bring 500 shillings, they clap for you and they give you a vote.
Yes.
I can tell you, I grew up in Mugisu. No Mugisu would beg. Are you hearing what I'm saying?
Go on.
But now, because we cannot market our coffee, we're in a bad state. In fact, Wamboga could be able to explain this better. We are now total beggars. Because I had my coffee, I knew I had money. If I was broke, I would go to the primary society and borrow money to take my kid to school, to do whatever I want. So these are the things I can tell you that now this government came, removed cooperatives, made people poor, and that's why they're able to become destitute, and that's why they're saying we shall rule for 50 years. But I can tell you, even God doesn't cheat. People's minds are changing. Now, this one who talks about serious demonstrations, I don't know what he meant. Yes, freedom is never, that's Max Tumwene. Yes. Freedom is never free, and we must fight for it, and yes, that's why we're fighting for it. And when he says I'm an activist, yes, I'm an activist. I am not activist because I don't have food at home. I am saying that we should tell this country that you are suffering because of a few individuals, and who are causing you to suffer are the following. How can somebody buy sugar 10,000 at that time, 5,000, 2,000? Now how can you, if you go high and the government is not caring, yet it collects the tax from you? How can you fail to take your kid to school?
All right.
Those are the reasons why we're saying that freedom is never free and we must battle for it, and one of them is that.
All right.
Democracy. I think democracy is quite important, and we believe that our colleagues in NRM should agree that democracy is very important.
Yes.
And we should do it.
Okay.
Of late, I'm talking to the Prime Minister, Right Honorable Manya Mama Mbabazi.
Oh, you've been talking to him?
No,
about what?
For me, my brother ran out from Mbale because of...
I thought you said he ran away from Mbale.
He ran out from
Mbale originally.
But he's a Mugisu from Mbale and they went to this Bakiga. But I want to tell you that we need, this country, we need to coexist. And the most important thing is growth of democracy.
We have to go.
And because of democracy, that we must have police respecting human rights, the army, everybody must respect the judge.
Right.
And that's, I just want to conclude on this one. And that's why I agree with Wamboga, that when the president was campaigning, was like opposition MP.
Yes.
President, you called it, we reached to Rambo, he said, where's the water in here? Why didn't you bring water here? You have written 300 million. Now so you can see, he became, instead of saying he has failed, was passing his blame to others.
We have to go. Thank you very much, Honorable Nathan Nandala Mafabi, Budadiri West Mp, also leader of the opposition in Parliament. We shall investigate whether the Prime Minister actually originally came from the East. Well, time to go. Thank you very much for coming to Spectrum. Thank you for tuning in. I've been your host, Edmond. So Spectrum will be back tomorrow. Up next is the news in English.